As this year went on, I felt a lot more confident. I suddenly realized that socializing with people was so much more easier. I was hardly nervous at all. And I started realizing actually I really didn't have that hard of a time thinking of things to say. I've noticed I stopped worrying about what to say and the right things to say, and I started having an easier time actually keeping a conversation going. I've begun to notice that very quickly. I continued to hang out with my two new groups of friends, and I had so much fun. I feel like I was feeling like I was part of them. I felt like I really wasn't much different than everybody else, and that was such a wonderful feeling. I decided to go on another road trip to Florida this spring. I decided to go on this road trip again to really appreciate what has happened at the beginning that has happened in the beginning of this year. During this trip, I had probably the most amazing experience of joy I have ever had. In fact, it was amazing. It was so amazing. It was almost an understatement. I decided to take a road trip down to Miami, Florida, and I really took an appreciation of what happened. The trip I did was 3 days long, and I slept in my car in the parking lots during the night to save money. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money at the hotels because I still didn't really have I was in between jobs, and I was still looking for another job since I quit working as a bellman, which by the way I did kind of regret doing that. But anyway, I at least had enough money to go on this road trip. I had a refund check from college that I got sent me, so I went to Florida because of it. I thought about how lucky I was. This made me feel great, confident, and I started to really appreciate life, really appreciate my life and life in general. I appreciated all my friends I met in South Carolina and Michigan. I thought about all my family members and appreciated how they were and how they were unique and how they made my life unique. I started feeling huge love and appreciation for everything, and it felt fantastic. I decided to smoke. I brought a little bit of marijuana with me. I never really smoked marijuana that much, but I did smoke a couple of times before, and I noticed it did help me intensify amazing experiences. So I decided to bring it with me. I got high a couple of times, and it really intensified, and it did help intensify the joy. I drove through West Palm Beach, and it felt like I was in a dream. I looked at all the buildings and appreciated how I was so far out in the ocean in the peninsula and how amazing it felt. I looked at all the clouds in the sky, and it really looked awesome. I then swam at Miami Beach, and that was fun. On the third day, I decided to drive out into the country in the middle of the lower peninsula of Florida. The feeling of joy and gratitude I was experiencing started to reach a very high point. I was starting to get high on weed too on top of it. I then started to focus on the fact that I was connected with everything again. I looked at the clouds and the beautiful scenery, and I knew that since I was made in the image of God, I was part of that too. I started to feel connected to everything on a level and I never felt before. Suddenly, I felt really connected. I felt like more connected than I ever felt before. It was like everything got still and I was just part of it all. I was like, holy shit. All of a sudden, the next thing I know, I started yelling, woohoo! And I started yelling it over and over and over again. I went, woo! I started like screaming because I was just so happy. It was like, I couldn't believe the fact that I kept screaming. It was crazy. It was weird. Like I just kept on, like the excitement I was feeling was just so crazy. I just I was just screaming. The only thing I could do was just kept screaming. I just kept screaming over and over again. And this feeling was so amazing. I tried to compare it with something. I decided, okay, having an orgasm is pretty amazing. And I was comparing this feeling I felt, does that feel as good as an orgasm? And I realized, yes, this is intense as a freaking orgasm that I was feeling. And it was just, oh my God, I was like, looking at everything. And I was like, I kept on going, oh my God, woo! And I listened to songs and I was just like, I listened to this one song and I was listening to, I forget the name of the song, but I don't care. It was a song by YouTube. Actually, no, I think it was a song, I don't know. It was some like alternative rock song. I'll post it on YouTube sometime. I'll send a link to the video, but oh my God, that's when I like started going really like, I was so excited. I was saying, oh my God, I kept saying, oh my God, over and over and over again. Like, I was just so happy, and it was like, oh my God. I felt so lucky to have experienced such joy in that level. I felt like I was learning how to master being happy. I felt like I was mastering how to spiritual awaken. At least that's what I thought at the time. Well, when I got home from Florida, I was really happy. I was really happy that I went on that trip. And I was really happy that I was appreciating the things that has happened, my accomplishments and all that. I was really happy about that. I was really happy how I was improving on my social skills and all that.